Please subscribe and share this video with your friends. Ladies, it's Marni Battista here from datingwithdignity.com, and I have been trolling the internet, as you know. No, not really the internet, but I have been trolling around trying to find the guy for you who can give you the best advice here. And we have Adam Lyons, the dating coach. Welcome to our show.
Thank you ever so much for having me.
So there's something special that you need to know about Adam, besides the fact that he's super cute and he looks fantastic in blue.
Thank you.
You know, I have a penchant, I have a thing for British guys because I'm going to marry one. And so I had to find one for you. So you could just sit here and listen to him talk.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you're ever just feeling like you want to get your sexual energy up, right? Do women tell you all the time, "Oh, I love your accent"?
You know what? I don't hear it as often as you'd think.
Really?
Yeah, it happens like maybe once a week. There'll be somebody that's like, "Oh my gosh, I really like your accent."
But see, I think that's just in LA because there's so many of you here.
That's possibly it. Yeah, they all come out here for work.
Right?
We end up being the bad guys in movies. That's kind of like
that's true. Except Hugh Grant.
Except Hugh Grant. Yeah.
I love him. You know what? I had a moment when, and this is, so Jeremy's obviously British, but I swear I had one of those moments watching. I don't remember which Hugh Grant movie it was, but I was like, I'm gonna marry a British guy because of Hugh Grant.
That's awesome.
He's like paving the way for British men in America.
It's true. I actually I know a lot of guys who try and copy that style of sort of like, oh well, I'm so sorry.
Oh right, the little
they do it specifically to attract American girls. It's like a thing.
Oh my God, totally this is good. Well, I'm so glad that you're here, and we'll just get you to talk a lot. So
awesome.
Today we're talking about how to know if he's interested. Yes, this is a really big question.
Yeah, it's one I hear quite a lot as well.
You do?
Yeah, because, I think girls are very clever when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
And they're always, checking with their friends, like, oh, what's this going on here? Or
right.
What are we doing or what have you? Whereas guys don't tend to do that.
They don't do that.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, bimble along. Yeah, exactly. And they don't really know what happens. And then a guy will do something and goes like, wow, he's being really clever. What's he doing? And I'm like, he's probably not being that clever, actually. It's really simple.
So here's the thing. One of the most important things you could walk away from this moment is that if a guy is really interested in you, it's sort of obvious.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there was that film, he's just not that into
right.
you, and it's actually true.
Right.
Like, if he's not being available, if he's not there, if he's being distant, he's probably just not.
He's not that into you. So when a guy is into you, what does he do? Like, what are the obvious signs?
So I mean, number one, he's going to actively chase.
Okay.
There's guys are sort of like given that impression or that image of being like a horn dog that's
right,
always after the girl. And if you like somebody, he's gonna be that.
Okay.
He's gonna push. He's gonna be like, when you're free, and he's gonna be free all the time. He's always gonna be available for you.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So he's constantly doing that chase, making it very easy for you.
Now, even if he wants a relationship, I mean, it's not just that he's always interested in you if he wants sex.
No, he's, in fact, there's actually it's kind of a misconception that guys only want women for sex. Yeah, what happens is guys actually are much more interested in relationships than you'd think. In fact, there's been a lot of polls and studies where they've asked men and women what they want in a relationship. And they've been, pretty clever about asking the questions.
Okay.
And often they find out that women are much more into casual sex than men are. Which is kind of a shock.
Not at Dating with Dignity.
But,
okay, just kidding.
Well, I think one of the fun ones I love, and this is a great study. If in their older age, if a couple have been together for a long time, if the male passes away, it has no effect on the lifespan of the female, none at all.
Really?
But if the female passes away, the male dies a lot sooner than he would have normally.
Unless he finds somebody else.
Unless he finds someone else, yeah. It's actually unless he bonds with somebody else, and they often don't, by the way. Men will often, at that age, they won't settle down with anybody else. That'll be it. They'll stay single.
So this is huge because women walk around thinking that men just want sex and they only want relationships. So we have debunked that myth here.
Completely.
So there are good men. They do want relationships. So if they're into you, they are going to make it obvious. It's going to progress to the next level. I think this is an important part.
Yeah, it is. And now this is, I suppose, the flip side to that coin, which is the sad bit, which is that girls aren't hearing, which is If he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, it's probably because he wants to be in a relationship with somebody else, or you're not the kind of person he wants.
Okay.
Now, this is where men differ from women.
Okay.
A man has no problem in having sex with somebody that he doesn't really want a relationship with.
Okay.
He's lusting after that relationship. He wants that relationship with somebody incredibly special. But in between then, he's more than happy to just have sex with a whole bunch of different people. It doesn't affect his reputation negatively from a social point of view.
It's true.
You know, and so, and also men have a lot more testosterone, obviously, than women. And that's actually the governing chemical that makes them horny or makes them aroused.
Okay.
So, once a month, a female will become incredibly aroused.
Yes, she will.
Right. And that's going to be that testosterone boost.
Right.
Somebody actually said to me, if you want to understand how a male is, imagine being like that every single day of the month.
Oh, goodness.
Because that's essentially what it's like to be a male.
Okay.
And so it's those kind of levels. So the average guy is constantly horny, constantly, looking for some kind of release. But that doesn't mean he doesn't want to bond. And once he gets that bond, he'll be very happy for it to just come from the person he's
Okay, this is huge. So one of the things we were talking about before we started shooting was this thing about oxytocin, which is a very female hormone.
It is, yeah.
Okay, and so when a guy is into you, you said that oxytocin is stimulated in a guy.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So essentially you've got different chemicals in your brain that govern positive rewards.
Okay.
And you have things like endorphins, which are a pain reliever.
Okay.
Dopamine is a positive reward. Serotonin comes from when our peers are impressed with us.
Okay.
And actually one of the reasons people get addicted to Facebook is they're addicted to serotonin. And that's
a whole nother episode. Make a note of that, Craig. Okay,
yeah, that's a whole different one. But so oxytocin is kind of like the building block of love.
Okay.
Oxytocin is the bond, and when a female gives birth, her body is flooded with oxytocin to ensure she falls in love with her baby.
Okay.
Well, males get an oxytocin release during sex, but only with somebody that they actually are in love with.
And that happens before sex as well as during sex?
It can start to happen before sex.
Okay.
Yeah. It will happen when he's laughing.
Okay.
It will happen if he starts bonding with you via talking about his friends and family.
Okay.
Bringing you into those kind of levels. But it will specifically, when he has sex with somebody he's in love with, he'll get an oxytocin release. But he will not get that oxytocin release if he just has casual sex with somebody.
Okay.
And so in the same way that somebody can become addicted for Facebook for serotonin,
a
male can become addicted to having sex with somebody he's in love with, which will be that oxytocin that he's chasing. So that's why it's actually a difficult time is when a girl's in love with a guy and they settle down, they have a relationship together, and then that girl starts withholding sex. It's not sexual withholding. You're withholding oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical for the male.
Oh, this is huge. This is like isn't this an all-in-one episode? Okay, wait. So let me, this is why he's here. He's so smart. Okay, so a guy is into you, and he starts to build this oxytocin. He starts to share his life with you, introduce you to his friends. He's into you. It starts going to the next level. Then you have sex, and now there's like a chemical connection.
Yeah, from that male. If he's in love with you, if everything's built up correctly, then yes, he'll get that chemical connection. And that guy will now be completely interested in you on every single level. And he will start to crave that oxytocin bond.
There you go.
Now, what will happen is you'll think that's just sex, and you'll think like, wow, this guy's just horny all the time. What he's actually doing is he's trying to bond with you. And that bond, I mean, it's the same bond between a mother and a child.
That means the Brit is so romantic. He's not just a horn dog and I'm wildly hot. He's a romantic. It all makes sense now.
And it's how he finds a connection with you, a real connection.
I love that.
And when you do withhold that, or when you decide not to have sex because you think he just wants you for sex, that chemical in his brain starts to diminish, and that bond will actually start to disappear. And by having sex, you rebuild it and you reform it.
Okay, but at the right time. You don't have to have sex early to make this connection.
No,
I don't want to give the best thing.
Not at all.
Okay, so what about the guys who are slow to warm? Because there's this fine line between being patient and allowing it to build versus honey, he's not that into you. He's just doing it in a more high-class way.
For sure.
Okay, so what can we do?
So there's two sides to that coin.
Okay.
There's the guys that are slow to warm because they like you and they're worried they're going to get rejected. And so these guys just can't believe their luck. Okay. And so they're not pushing forward because they don't want to get hurt. Okay. But you'll know those guys because they'll always be available for you. Okay. They'll always, they'll be like, yeah, I can totally do that. If you want to. I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, and he's going to be a little bit doubtful about everything, but he's going to be available for you. Then you're the other kind of guy who basically just isn't that interested in you, and he's slow to warm because he just doesn't care.
He might be dating other people. Yeah. He's like,
Yeah, he's dating somebody else. He's hanging out with other people. He's got his own life where he just isn't that attracted.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that he's not going to say yes to somebody putting it on a plate for him. And and that's not just sex. That's even just going on a date with a cute girl. And he's like, well, she's not really my type, but whatever. She's going to come and.
I call that girlfriend privileges without boyfriend responsibilities.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what it is. Right. So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take all those benefits. Why not? And so that guy is just going to say, okay, cool, more than happy to go and hang out with you, but it doesn't work for me on a Tuesday or a Thursday night.
So he's not into
playing poker with the guys. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the bottom line is that you will know that he's interested in you because it will be obvious. He will share your life. He will share his life. He will want to take it to the next level, and he will want to have sex with you, which actually is creating a chemical reaction. Yeah. Ladies, if you want to find more Adam, where can they find you?
Thedatingcoach.com.
Thedatingcoach.com. Any Twitter fodder for you?
Yeah, you can actually find me on Twitter at twitter.com/AFC Adam.
AFC. And I am at Marni Battista. I know that's really creative. We were talking about Instagram. I'm at Dating with Dignity. And if you want more, you can just go to datingwithdignity.com. But come back for more episodes of the very cute, handsome British guy that I have served on a silver platter to you, darling. Goodbye.
That's awesome.